Hello everyone. So here I'm back again with another Escalation Tier 10 video. This time I'm gonna be playing District Union Arena. Let me show you my build real quick. I'm using 4-piece striker, all pieces with echo and critical hit damage along with the backpack and the chest piece. I'm using Exodus Glove because these things are great for solo play, and Sheska knee pads with echo and almost god roll DPS stats. I'm using double NK46 but weapons with frenzy, critical hit chance, and echo. That way I can deal with the variety pack debuff. I'm also using the quickstep, the reviver hype, and the decoy, along with the gunner specialization. For my seasonal modifier, already have it maxed out. I'm using the invincible active modifier along with munitions belt, contagion, and surge drive. For my stats, here are the sources for the critical hit chance. For my build I have 186.3% critical hit damage and a sum of 201.5% of weapon damage plus LMG damage. Let's start with the mission. So District Union Arena is one of those missions that I'm gonna be calling beginner friendly for Escalation. The strategy is gonna be very straightforward. Doesn't matter if you play solo or even co-op. I think the position is gonna be very effective for both styles of play. And in general, the mission is very straightforward. All of the strategies for all of the rooms are gonna be pretty much copy my position, shoot the enemies from there from a safe distance, and after you kill all the enemies, you can move on. So because of that, I wanted to make this video a little bit more didactical for those that haven't had the chance to play escalations or high tier escalations in especially. So anyways, my strategy for this build in particular revolves around a double LMG strat. That's because of one of the mutators that we have for this current patch, which is called Variety Pack. That mutator is going to reduce the damage of a weapon after you get X amount of continuous kills with the same weapon, in this case 3 kills. The debuff is going to be, I believe it's all weapon damage, not exactly sure if that's the actual stat or if it's an amplified debuff or something like that, but still, you're gonna be losing DPS. And because we're playing on our own, we cannot lose DPS because again, we're getting all of the kills. So because of that, I'm using a second LMG, and every time I get one kill with one of those LMGs, as soon as I run out of ammo from the current magazine, I'm gonna switch to the second weapon, or the other weapon that is. I'm gonna reload it so that I can proc frenzy, and from there, I'm able to shoot at the enemies with full DPS and don't have to worry about the DPS debuff from the Variety Pack mutator. So yeah, that's one thing to keep in mind for my style of play. Another thing to keep in mind for this specific patch note is the mutator one for all. The mutator there's going to be the Jack Fuse, I believe that's his name, icon, the orange icon on top of the enemy's head. When those enemies have those marks, they're gonna be applying a layer of damage reduction to all nearby enemies. Currently, at the time I'm recording this video, is 60%. But I believe the depths are gonna lower the damage reduction amount. But anyways, we have to shoot at the enemy so that we can remove the damage reduction, as well as spread the damage to all of the nearby enemies. Now here, gear crate number 1, by the way. And yeah, essentially, if you see the orange icon on top of an enemy head, just shoot them. You're gonna spread a ton of damage and be able to deal with an enemy wave without too much of an issue. So anyways, now for this next part, as soon as we open the door, we are gonna be shooting through this wall right here. This is a wall that we're actually able to shoot through, but the enemies won't be able to get line of sight with us, and as such, they won't be able to do anything against us. This is a strategy that people already use for legendaries, District Union Arena, especially for solo play, and we're gonna be exploiting that to try to kill the next 2, I believe it's 4 enemy waves now that I think about it, including the starting one. So yeah, as soon as we kill the first enemy wave, we're gonna run towards the other side of the room, the back of the room that is, and as soon as the enemy spawn, we're gonna do a 180-degree turn and go back to this wall to shoot the enemies from here. As long as we don't get flanked by one of those rushers, we should be fine. And as I said, pretty straightforward strategy. If I ever see a damage reduction enemy, I'm going to focus on that enemy so that I'm able to spread the damage and deal with these enemy waves even quicker. And after I finish, or if I run out of LMG ammo, I can open an ammo crate that's nearby me. Only bad thing about the current build that I'm using is that every time I open an ammo crate, my LMGs are gonna get filled up and I have to empty both of them so that I can have Frenzy ready for both of them. That is to be able to immediately reload my weapon and get the Frenzy talent to proc. So yeah, that's the second gear crate, by the way. And as you already saw on these two gear crates, those gear crates on Escalation have the chance to drop prototype gear every time you open them. The higher your Escalation tier is, the more chances you have to get prototype gear from the crates, and the higher the quality the loot is going to be. So it's highly advised that you open the crates, and it's also something that I have been including on pretty much most of my Year 8 Season 2 guides ever since the devs added that stuff back into the game. It's a long story, but yeah, it's gonna be a thing, and I don't think the devs are gonna take it away anytime soon, which I'm glad of that. And for this part, we are gonna be fighting from this back of the room. We can either fight from behind these boxes. We just have to be careful, and every time we expose ourselves to shoot at the enemies, or we can shoot through the door frame on our left. We can stay at either side of the door, and that way we should also get a pretty decent line of sight, especially from the incoming enemy waves that are going to be coming from the door that's behind that giant piece of cover. And one benefit from the 1-for-all mutator is that if we see an enemy within our line of sight, we are able to target that specific enemy, and that way spread all of the damage to all of the nearby NPCs. That's something that I'm definitely abusing on this run, especially in this room. So yeah, the last enemy wave is going to be one hyena chonga. So yeah, just be careful on the moment he comes out. If possible, either shoot his ammo belt so that he's not able to shoot at you, or even explode the explosive that's going to be right next to him, so that you're able to just focus all your fire on the enemy without having to worry about getting shot. And there you go. We can continue along throughout the mission. Gonna grab our prototypes and open the door. We're gonna find one enemy. We can shoot them and kill them. And from here, we can jump this counter and run towards the lever to restore the power. But before that, I'm gonna fill out my LMG ammo once again. Now, I've already tried a ton of strategies, and at least for this current patch, there is currently no way to skip the LMG emptying chicken dams that I'm currently doing. There was some way to do it back in the previous patch, but Massive seems to have fixed that. A silent nerf, as always, as we can expect from the devs at times, so that's a bit unfortunate. But anyways, after you restore the energy, we're gonna get a rusher at the end of the hallway, and they're gonna be running towards the left side. We can run behind them and take cover behind this piece of cover to deal with the next two enemy waves for this room. And then we can continue along throughout the mission. We'll open this door. And in the middle of this hallway, we can run towards the left side, so we can find gear crate number 3. That backpack rolled pretty well, actually. It's almost god roll. Too bad the gear set is a little bit crap. So yeah, it's also another bad thing about Escalation. You have to be really mindful of like the current targeted loot. And that pretty much determines how much time you're gonna spend on farming for prototypes. But at least when you farm for tier 10, you can always be sure that the quality of the items are gonna be absolutely great. Either you're playing solo or co-op, that is. So yeah. There's gonna be 3 enemy waves if I remember correctly. And you can fight the enemies from over here, as long as you have your decoy towards the right side. I'm even going to be using my gunner specialization weapon so that I don't have to waste that much high quality ammo. the one of the consumables from this current season. I even included an estimated ammo consumption so that you guys are able to program like your runs and determine if you guys want to go back to the White House and get some more high quality ammo from the from the canister things from this season, or if you want to try it out, you go towards do the mission outright and don't care if you run out of high quality ammo throughout the mission. There's already a few ways to like not have to worry about not wasting any high quality ammo, but unfortunately those strategies don't work that well with how the frenzy talent works, and frenzy is way too good to not use it in general. So yeah, that's the reason why I prefer to just use the high quality ammo and program my rounds with anticipation to make sure I don't run out of consumables in the middle of a run. So anyways, we're going to be running towards this direction right here after we kill the enemies, and we're going to be finding gear crate number 4. From here, we can continue along towards the first boss room of this mission. We're going to make sure that we have at least 700 LMG ammo for the next encounter, and already have an updated strategy positioning for this boss room in particular. I was really fighting from within this shipping crate, but for now, I actually like to climb towards this boxer right here, take over here, and focus all my fire first on the NPCs of the boss, in case the boss doesn't have one for all, and try to kill all the NPCs, including an extra enemy wave that's going to be coming from the top floor, right where I'm currently shooting at, before focusing on my fire on the boss. If the boss has one for all, then we can focus our fire on the boss so that we can spread the damage to all of the NPCs in the room, or at least the ones that are nearby the boss. That way we don't have to worry with that many NPCs. And with that, that's the first boss. Now before you continue along with the mission, we're going to be getting inside this little hallway so that we can get to gear crate number 5. This is going to be a Hyenas faction crate, and as such we need a Hyenas faction key to be able to open that crate. And now for this part, I didn't got any rogue agents in this recording, but I do like to mention that if you ever get them, it's very possible you're gonna get in this room right here. Even though there's no enemies in this run, if you get the rogue agents, you have to fight them almost always in this room. If you ever find them, try to shoot from the left side of the doorframe where I'm currently shooting at. Just take cover, of course, and even if possible, try to blind fire the enemies, and that way you should be able to deal most of the damage to the rogue agents. That's gear crate number 6, by the way. That's going to be the last gear crate of this mission. And if for some reason you get surrounded by the enemies, either because you didn't do enough DPS output to the rogue agents or something, we can run towards this other extreme of the room to fight the rogue agents from here. We can hide behind the white trucks and be able to deal with the rogue agents. And yeah, just something to keep in mind. And if one of the rogue agents has a one for all mutator, try to prioritize your damage to said enemy. That way you should be able to kill the rogue agents pretty easily. So anyways, for this next part right here, one of the bosses is going to be unnamed Chunga. Because of that, I highly suggest that you have Ravenous as one of your backup strats, especially if your build is currently not that optimized. We can shoot from the left shoulder for that rifle and be able to do increased damage to armor plates, which is the actual armor that the Chungas have, and also the stuff that something like the True Sons helmets, the Hyenas Rusher helmets, or the Black Tusk dogs have. That's going to help us a lot. We can get a ton of pretty high multiplicative damage against the types of enemies, quote-unquote enemies. So anyways, and I like to fight the enemies from behind this first column to the left side. We have a bunch of boxes that we can use to cover our whole body and shoot from a pretty safe position. Mainly so that we don't get shot down by the truck in the middle of the room. And ideally I like to deal with all of the Hyenas NPCs before destroying the truck. Although with stuff like One for All again, sometimes it's not possible to be able to kill the enemies before the truck gets destroyed, like the damage spread from the mutator can also apply to the truck. But anyways, if the truck hasn't been destroyed by this point, we're able to shoot from between these two gaps, especially if we're not using Ravenous, if we're using LMGs, to be able to both damage the truck and damage the boss. That's gonna be what I'm gonna be doing right here. The gap is small enough that the boss won't be able to shoot us through, but it's big enough that we're able to shoot at the boss from over here from a pretty safe position. I managed to destroy the armor plates from the boss, the one on the chest I believe, and with that the boss is dead. So yeah, again, the general strategy for escalation is just be mindful of the line of sight that you have with the enemies. Always make sure that you have something to block your body from any incoming enemy fire, and yeah, pretty much try to abuse that to be able to exchange fire with the enemies. And if for some reason you suppress an enemy, a yellow one, and he starts to blind fire at your position, make sure that you're actually taking cover behind any piece of cover, even if it's like a wall or something. That's going to drastically reduce the chances that one of those blind shots is going to land on your character. If you're not taking cover and you're just standing in the open, if you're just standing next to a piece of cover but not actually taking cover, the enemies will almost always be able to shoot at you. So yeah, that's one of those mechanics that you have to heavily rely on for escalation tier 10 to be able to not die. So anyways, for this next room, it's pretty straightforward. Deal with the button, run towards the counter that I'm going to be running at, and deal with the 3 enemies from the single enemy wave in this room. For co-op you can get more enemies, but because we're solo, there's only 1 enemy wave to kill. There you go. And now for the final room, the most interesting room in this whole mission by far. Make sure that you have as much LMG ammo as possible so that we don't run out of ammo during the middle of the fight, especially because we're using double LMGs. And there's 3 positions that we can take for this fight. 2 of those positions are going to be found on this piece of building right here. The first position is going to the top of this building and fighting the enemy from this piece of cover. Now we can cover most of the sides where the enemies can flank us outside of behind us, which there's going to be a single enemy that's always going to try to flank us. That's already one of the program enemy waves for solo play. And yeah, the benefit from this position is that we have a very great vantage point to shoot at all of the enemies and especially spawn kill them as they're running along from the top floor. The bad part, we are pretty exposed every time we get ourselves out of cover. So we have to be careful on what enemies are nearby and have a pretty great situational awareness so that we don't get shot by an enemy that we're not able to see. That's the enemy wave that I was talking about, by the way, the one that's programmed to flank you from this position. So anyways, the second position, I'm going to be showing it very soon. It's also right on this building. We can roll down from this piece of building and there's going to be a piece of cover that we can use to shoot the enemies. The benefit from that position that I'm going to be showing is that we're able to cut line of sight more effectively, and it's going to be the position that I'm going to be fighting at to deal with the boss. And the third position, I'm going to be showing it pretty soon, is going to be on the corner, right over here. The benefit from this position is that we can cover all of the enemies that may be standing over here. This is a position that the enemies love to stay at, and it can be pretty annoying to try to kill the last enemies from one enemy wave before we make before we're able to spawn the boss. So yeah, that's a very important thing to keep in mind, and it's also a decent position if you don't want to push very aggressively. I decided to push because I want to be done with this mission already. I think my run has already been a little bit longer than I would have liked to. This is a mission that you can probably complete in around a 70-minute mark if you're just focusing on the enemies and not opening any crates and stuff. So yeah, but as always, these missions get a little bit longer whenever I'm making a video. And as I said, this is the second piece of cover that I was talking to you guys about. And as already said, I can cut line of sight with the boss so I'm able to exchange fire without having to worry about the boss being able to shoot at me. And right before I'm able to kill the boss, I'm going to be throwing a decoy right next to him so that I'm able to get the attention of the boss. They get a proximity threat system, especially for the decoys, and that way I'm able to do even more damage to the boss without getting shot. And that's District Union Arena. Pretty chill mission. It's a wonderful mission if you want to learn escalation. And yeah. But I still think that something like Roosevelt Island is significantly faster and with a better kill time ratio. And because some of you guys already insist a ton of the comments, here are some of the pieces that I got on this run. As I said, we can get a ton of stuff from Escalation Tier 10 run. Doesn't matter if it is solo or co-op. And the rolls are extremely high, they're almost maxed out. But again, most of the time I break most of the stuff because I don't even need it these days. Maybe I think I saved that MG5 actually, it was pretty decent. And yeah, also one thing why I don't show this loot is that these stupid watch level up screens, they stay even longer on screen if I actually open my inventory. So yeah, that's why I normally don't show the loot. So anyways, that's all for this video. Like and subscribe if you like this video, and you can leave a comment down below. I read all of your comments. I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Bye bye everybody. Have a great day.